Have you ever wondered why, when you go into the bank, they're so anxious to pay you interest on your money? Have you ever looked in your mail and you saw, listen, I got something from Chase, I got something from Bank of America, I got something from Wells Fargo. All these companies are sending me things in the mail. Has that ever happened to you? You look in your mailbox and you say, listen, these people are really frantic to get my business. They are, in fact, they're sending me. Have you ever had it where they even sent you a notice that says, listen, we will give you $500 just to open a bank account? I mean, don't that sound like some hanky panky is going on? Well, in today's video, I'm going to show you why banks are so interested in giving you interest and why it's not in your best interest to accept their interest. All right. So here's what happened. You go into the bank, and this is what you need to understand about banking that's not explained to you when you walk into a bank. It should be fully disclosed because anytime you're entering into a contract with someone, they're supposed to fully disclose to you all of what the intricacies are of the contract that you've entered into. But the problem is that when you walk into the bank asks you a lot of questions, but you don't ask the bank any questions. They say, may I have your social security number? You say, sure. They say, can you tell me how long you've been working on this job? You don't ask them, how long have you been a bank? When they ask you, what's your mother's maiden name? You don't say, what's your mother's maiden name? When they ask you anything, you just acquiesce and go right along with whatever the bank is talking about. It is amazing that this happens clear across the world and nobody's seeing any red flags. Why is it that you are bringing your money to an institution and you don't have a right to question the institution about what's going on with your money? Why aren't you aware about what's going on with your money? Have you ever gone into the bank and the bank said, listen, we really appreciate having you here. Here's the president of our bank, and he is your trustee. So we're going to make you aware of all the moves that we're making. We're going to make you aware of how we spend this money, what we invest in, who we loan money to, the terms of the loans that we loan money to, the length of time that we loan the money to the people, the amount of money that we're loaning to people, countries, corporations, and nations. And we'll make you aware of all these things because why? Because you're our client and you're the reason that we have any money in the first place because you came into the bank. Well, that would be a bank action as a fiduciary because a fiduciary has um, a trustee has a fiduciary responsibility with the beneficiaries of whatever it is that they have a trusteeship over. And what you are is that you are a depositor that goes into the bank. And I say you because I don't bank like this. I say you because I'm gonna teach you how to stop banking the way that you're banking and start banking the way that we bank so that be able to get your money back that you put into the bank. That's what I'm gonna teach you right now in this video. So when you go into the bank, this is what's happening with you. You're going in, you're not questioning anything. So because you're not questioning anything, then you actually feel good when they offer you some interest on your account. I mean, you feel like, what the heck, is better than not getting anything, right? Well, of course, that would be true if that was the case, but it's not true. And let me tell you why it's not true. The reason, see, when you put in money into the bank and they offer you some interest, then when you make a deposit, that becomes a credit to the bank. If you know anything about accounting, you know that debits and credits are the two things you need to learn initially in accounting 101 in order for that class to make any sense. All right. In order for you to be able to pass that class, if you don't know the difference between debits and credits, you can't pass that class. If you get dyslexic about that, you'll never pass that class. You'll never go on to accounting two. But the problem in accounting is that it teaches you all of these ideas, and unless you're going to be an accountant, doesn't mean anything about your life. But you're going to be accounting for your money for the rest of your life, and you're going to have to be accountable for the money that you pass on to your kids and to your grandkids. So you need a class on how to be accountable about money, whether you've ever taken an accounting class or not. So I'm giving you a miniature course right here, right now. Some of the things I teach in my financial IQ challenge. Okay. So you walk into the bank and they say, we'd like to give you some interest 1%, 2%, 3%, 4%, 5% interest. First problem with that is that those interest rates are so paltry until your money would take forever to grow. At 1%, it takes 72 years. At 3%, it takes what, 24 years? Yeah, 3 times 24 is 72. So if you just divide any number into 72, tells you how long it takes for your money to double. So we are going into the banks, you all are going to the banks, that is, with these agreements that are not in your best interest. It's a conflict of interest for you to take the bank's interest because you could be getting back your entire bank deposit as opposed to taking that little paltry sum of interest if you learn how to operate the way that we operate. So you go into the bank says, listen, we'll give you Let's say we give you, let's say if they went all the way up to 6% interest. You say, that's great. I got the bank rate. I got the best rate known to man. I see people, like excited about that, like, like clapping their hands and like celebrating, saying, man, I just got 6% interest on my account. And then they say, I want to refer you to all my friends and family because it sounds so good because everybody has been so desensitized to how to make money because we've been accepting such paltry sums, such paltry rates on our money, and just going along with the status quo until you don't realize what's going on behind the scenes. What's going on behind the scenes is that the bank is trading your money on an open exchange, especially after they give you interest, because that means you gave them the right to trade your money. But you don't know anything about that because you never had a discussion about full disclosure with your bank and never will. Why? Because the banks are run by the Federal Reserve, and the Federal Reserve is a cartel. So the cartel isn't going to tell you anything about what's going on behind the scenes. There are things happening with your money behind the scenes that you're not privy to. And unless you read, and unless you get involved in a real class like our financial IQ challenge, where you come in and I teach you these things, then you'll be behind the eight ball. So when we put our money in the bank doesn't have any choice but to give us back our entire deposit that we put into the bank year after year after year after year. That's the law. And but what you don't understand about the law is that there's a law that says that the creditors do whatever they put into the debtor's system. And the bank and the system that we live in is a debtor system, but you're the creditor if you learn how to operate privately as opposed to public. Right now, when you put money into the bank, you can't get your money back, but you can get some little paltry sum of interest that they give you. 1%, 2%, 3%, 4%, 5%, 6%. I'm talking about paltry sums of money that add up to nothing over a period of time. And we have millions and trillions of dollars that are on deposit as we speak right now in these banks around the world, and with a bunch of naive people. So I stopped by this morning to help you to change your name from first name Nye to and last name Eve, naive. Change your name from being naive to doing banking is in your best interest. Okay. So when we walk into the bank, we don't do it like that. We don't accept the interest because the interest is a bribe. And I'm telling you, do not accept those bribes. Why? Because the only person getting rich is the bank. They take your money and they start circulating it. So you taking the money and you put it in the bank, but it's not being circulated. It's just being spent by you. You saying, no, it's not. Yes, it is. You said, I made a deposit. No, you didn't. Because as soon as you put your money in the bank, they start circulating. You just spent your money with the bank up under the illusion that you made a deposit. Why? Because of the words that people use. It's called legalese. Legalese means that it's a word that's a lie. It ain't true. See, when you deposit money into a bank, you're not depositing the money into the bank. What you're doing is taking your money to the bank and spending it with the bank so the bank can go and circulate your money. So your money never comes back to you because you're spending it, but it comes back to them 1,000 times over because they're circulating. Common sense is that anybody who wants to make some money has to have the money come back to them. And if your money is not coming back to you, excuse me, then that means that you need to change what you're doing. All right. So when we go into the bank, what we do is we say, listen, I don't want your interest bearing account because that's a bribe. And I'll be dead before I'm 62 years old. I put money in a 1% bank account. It's going to take 72 years to double. I'll be 134 years old before my $1,000 turns into $2,000. All right. Anybody within a right mind would not agree to that. I'm in my right mind, so I don't agree to that. So I'm like, listen, I'm not agreeing for that. I have to be cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, be allowing you to hold on to my money. And I got to be 134 years old before $1,000 becomes $2,000. I mean, who would they? I mean, and if you are in agreement with this, it's not because you really agree with it. It's just because you just haven't been taught. Because I know you wouldn't do that if you knew better. I know that. That's why I'm here talking to you today. So what we do when we go into the bank is we say, no, no, no. We created ourselves private trust. So when we go into the bank, we go in with a private trust agreement that's already been created because the bank is not going to create a private trust for you because that's a conflict of interest with the bank. You say, why is that? Because then the bank would have to give you back. Then you can 1099 this bank, and they'd have to give you back your entire amount of money that you put in for that fiscal year. So if you put in whatever you put in for example, whatever we put in this year for 2024, we are entitled to the entire check back. You say, I don't believe you, Brother Ricky. Well, I just got $1 million tax refund. All right, a million, not a we got a tax refund. It's only took 2 years to get $1 million that people take. Some people ain't gonna make in their whole lifetime in 2 years from bank deposits being returned because it's the law. He said, I just don't believe what you're saying, Ricky. Well, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the believer. People who are unbelievers, then I can come back from hell and tell you what happened, and you still wouldn't believe it. So I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to believers. So if you're a believer, listen to me today, and you want to stop being manipulated by the system, and you want to take your money, your hard-earned money, and you want to get your money back, then I want to invite you to come to our financial IQ challenge at myfinancialiqchallenge.com. Myfinancialiqchallenge.com, and I will teach you all week what it is that we do. I'd also like to invite you to our next Infinite Banking class, which is absolutely free. And as we speak, it's going to come up on the 27th of June as we speak live here today. So it's at 11 o'clock in the morning, I believe it is, on the 27th of June. It's 27th of June. Sometimes I get the time mixed up. But it's posted at the top of my YouTube channel here. It's also on all my social media sites at Rick the Wealth Coach. So in wrapping up today, you might ask yourself this question. Um, why are the banks sending me all these? Why are they so frantic to be able to get my money? Why are they so frantic to be able to get my deposits? Why would they even send me? Why would they even offer me money to open up the account? See, a short-term thinking person never thinks long-term. So you have to think about that. It must be a serious to have that type of competition for your deposit, where the bank is so interested in your. See, they're not interested in you; they're interested in your money. All right, because anytime somebody will tell you, "I pay you some money in advance to give me," I pay you to give me your money, then it must be something up. Okay, why? So the first thing that happens when you go in and make a bank deposit is called Federal Reserve banking, fractional reserve banking, rather. And the first thing that happens is that they get a credit for 10 times the deposit that you put in. 10 times. So you put in $1,000, they get credit for 10,000. So every time you put a deposit in for $1,000, you really spent $10,000 with the bank. See, it's not a deposit to the bank. To the bank, it's a credit. Okay, which meant that you spent money with them, and they are adamant about being able to get your deposits. That's why they what you call a deposit. See, it sounds good. If the bank say, "Hey man, come spend your money with me," you'd be like, "Huh? Come spend my money with you?" You'd be like, I don't know about that. Come spend my money with you? I don't know about that. I don't know about that. I'll deposit my money with you. Why? So that I can have access to my money. And then the bank say, okay, that's cool. So we're going to give you some words that sound better to you because we know you like to hear words that massage your brain. So let's go ahead and give you some words that sound better than you. So you come on in and make a deposit with us. That sounds better. It just has a ring to it, doesn't it? Give us the deposit. And we want to compete for your business because you're a cherished customer to us. So allow us to give you some interest on your deposit. Never mind the fact that you just spent your money with us and we just got 10 times the amount of money that you gave us to feed our families, to build our kingdoms, to build our islands, to build our skyscrapers. Thank you so much for your contribution to our future, to our posterity, to our kids, to our grandkids, to our lineages, to our ideas, to our ideologies, to our gods, to all the things that's important to us. Thank you so much for contributing to our kingdoms. And it's so subtle because you're like, well, I have to have a bank account because I have to be able to write checks. I got to be able to use my debit card. I got to be able to move around. I got to be able to borrow money. So you do need a system to do business with, but you need to be the head and not the tail, the lender and not the borrower, which means that you don't accept bribes because you go first class with everything it is that you're doing because you realize that the money can't be running out. And if I spend my money at the bank and allow them to circulate my money into the atmosphere and get rich off of me, then I'm cutting off my inheritance to build up theirs. So in closing, this is what I would recommend to you. I recommend the remedy that I recommend to you is that you learn how to operate out of private trust so that when you go into a bank, you have your trust documents, you submit them to the bank and you let them know that this is I want a non-interest bearing, irrevocable account here. I have my trust documents right here and let's go. So the bank opens up your non-interest bearing, irrevocable trust bank account. And now, because we understand private law, we understand how to file all the 1099s on your behalf and to show you what to do. Now you are entitled to your bank deposits back, 100% of them. All right. And you're not going to make money any faster than that doing anything that you know about unless you're selling some cocaine. All right. And so I'm not talking about no life insurance policy. I'm not talking about no annuity. I'm not talking about no CD. I'm not talking about no mutual fund. I'm not talking about none of that slow stuff. That stuff is slow. That takes forever. You'll be dead before you got some money. Are you listening to me? And we just got back our bank deposits from the last 2 years, filing our private, irrevocable, tax-free trust account that we opened up. And so we were able to get back $1 million tax return. That's just one tax return. We got several more on the way. I got several clients with theirs on the way, and you could be the next client possibly. Okay, so you say, Ricky, what I need to do? So go to myfinancialiqchallenge.com, myfinancialiqchallenge.com, myfinancialiqchallenge.com. Sign up. Our next class, as we speak right now, it starts July the 1st. It'll be July the 1st for that week of July, very first day of July. That's on a Monday. Okay. Our class, it runs from 11 a.m. Eastern to 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern daily. If you can't come to the class live, to the challenge live, then you sign up anyway, and you can get the replay every day. Okay, the replay is good for 24 hours every day, and you get the replay, and you can watch and see what's going on. I recommend that you invite your kids. It's summertime, so I recommend that you tell your kids to come too, and they should be sitting on there looking with you so that you can educate them because they've gone through an entire year and they are financially illiterate. You say, no, they aren't, Ricky. They've been going to school, and yes, they are. They are financially illiterate. They don't know anything. If you don't understand how to operate out of trust, you are financially illiterate. Okay, that's why I have a financial IQ challenge because 99.9% of the people that I trained were financially illiterate when I met them. You say, no, they weren't, Ricky. They're very intelligent people. I'm talking about real money. I'm not talking about you can be as literate as you want to be at the Kool-Aid stand, okay, where that little money is made. You can be as literate as you want to be over there. I'm talking about literacy where the millions of dollars are made, and you don't have to be no baller and no shot caller. All right. You can just be the average everyday person. Just change the way that you're doing things. Because if you don't understand trust law, you are financially illiterate. Okay. Now you can say that you're on 63rd Street when you're on 43rd Street. And you can stay on 43rd Street. Or you can let me help you move you over to 63rd Street where I live. I live on 63rd. I don't live on 43rd. I done read every book on this. Well, I shouldn't say every book. I'm sure there's some more books that I haven't read. But I know I got enough sense now to know how to go into a bank and they got to give me back my bank deposits. I understand that. Okay. And if you come to our class, you'll have a very good understanding on that before you leave, amongst a whole bunch of other things. But that's the main thing that you'll learn because that's the main thing you need to learn. You're going to the bank, they taking your money out your straight out your checks. That money is going in, you working hard, 13, 14, 15 hours a day to make somebody else rich. And I don't like it. I don't like it. Listen, I don't even need to tell y'all what's going on. We could just keep getting our checks and just take our little money and run down the street like Daffy Duck. But that's not how I operate. The way I operate is God said, listen, Ricky, when you learn something, you got to teach your brothers and your sisters what's going on. That's your job. Okay. That's your obligation. So that's why I'm here. I'm here because I love you and I want you to know what's going on. I want your first name to be Nye, your last name to be Eve, and you be messing around with all these little financial vehicles that take forever to grow and all this game that's going on out here in these streets. Okay. So that's my recommendation to you today that you learn how to go into the bank, stop accepting their interest because their interest is a conflict of interest. Stop accepting their interest because their interest is a bribe. It means that you can't get back your bank deposits. All you can get is that the little crumbs that they gave you from off of the interest of your account. If you got $100,000, excuse me, and you get 6% interest on it, that's a measly what, $600 in a whole year. Are you kidding me? And when you can be operating the way we operate, we can create for you a tax-free trust. You walk into the bank with your 100,000 and deposit your same $100,000 and get $100,000 back. Are you kidding me? I said instead of $600. Is there anything to talk about? I mean, do we really have to discuss this? All right. I'm sorry, because some of y'all in shock when y'all, because y'all, it's just so hard for you to believe. But it's hard to believe something when somebody has blinded you, when you've been blinded by a system that where you don't even know your rights because they don't talk. It's not going to be talked about openly. I just had a friend, well, not a friend, but I had somebody who was looking at one of my videos here on YouTube, and she said, I'm trying to find out how the IRS is owned by Northern Trust Bank. I just checked Chat GPT and it didn't verify anything you were saying. I said, Chat GPT is not about to tell you anything about private banking, private law, about common law. That's not on Chat GPT, all right, because it's not public information, all right? I mean, it's not publicly discussed, all right? It is public information because all the laws I teach you are public laws that are written in the statutes, but it's not publicly discussed, okay, on a regular, wide scale basis. Those of us who live like this, we talk about it every day. It's just part of our lifestyle. It's just a new norm for us. But for people who don't know what we're talking about, then don't listen to Chat GPT and don't listen to nobody else chatting with you who don't know nothing about what they're talking about. Come to class and learn from people who got the checks and live the lifestyle. Don't be getting your information from people on the outside looking in. Get your information from people that's on the inside looking out. I'm a regular dude, just like you. Okay. I come from the projects of the south side of Chicago, Illinois. Wasn't born with any money, didn't have no silver spoon in my mouth or anything. I just educated myself. I sat down with the great Tim Brown from the Oakland Raiders and we talked. And Tim, he started talking to me about private trust. And I said, okay. I said, that's how the rich people live, and that's the way I'm going to live. I'm going to live like a rich person. I'm not going to live like a poor person. I'm going to live like a wealthy man. I'm not going to live like a man of lack. I'm not going to sit around and let people dictate my life to me. I'm going to find out what I need to do and I'm going to do it. And that's what I want you all to do too. That's what I encourage you to do. You can have plenty of money, as much money as you can, cartwheels of money if that's what you want. And you can be able to help people clear across the world, do whatever it is that you want to do. You just got to change the way you're making your bank deposits. Okay. Stop going in and make the bank rich. They got enough money. Okay. Chase got enough money. Wells Fargo, they got enough money, right? They got money for the next 16 generations, okay? They rich, believe you me. They do not need your contributions to help make them rich. You go in and you let them know, I'm changing the way I'm depositing this money. I'm not going to sit here and waste another dollar of my money and sit here getting you a little paltry sums of interest because you have a conflict of interest with me to be giving me. I have a conflict of interest with you rather to be receiving your interest because it ain't nothing but a bribe. Okay. Hopefully that helps you all today. You know, have a beautiful day. It's been a plum pleasing pleasure. One more time, if you want to see, if you want to learn these ideas in person, live, and then come to our next Financial IQ Challenge, which is July the 1st at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern. I recommend that you get a VIP seat so that you can come in and hear all the questions that are being asked by people who are living the lifestyle that we're already living. And you can ask any question that you want to ask, and you can observe what's going on. And you can be a very educated person at the end of a week. Actually, you'll have enough education to know if you even want to be a part of our community to start living the way that we live. You'll know enough by then to be able to make an educated decision. Okay? Have a beautiful day. Be blessed in the city, be blessed in the field, and remember that stellar is a stellar does. Have an outstanding day.